Okay, welcome back to, I think this is the 15th episode of the My Generation podcast, and we're back with Connor Jenkins.
Always nice to meet a fan, Max.
Yeah, and he's actually back on the show. We didn't scare him away, he's returned, and he's not talking about rock climbing this time. On today's show, we are talking about the power of music. I've been mentioning this specific topic for weeks and weeks and weeks now, and we finally got round to doing the episode with Connor today. Music's always been an extremely profound thing within my life and had a major effect on me, with certain songs leading to what I would consider life-changing moments. So I wanted to talk to Connor Jenkins, a musician and returning podcast guest based in Canterbury, and Connor also is on the Rock Climbing Society at Christchurch. Connor, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Yeah, really good.
Good, I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, glad to have you back on the show. So, music. You've got next to us a beautiful CD from a band.
Yeah.
Would you like to maybe talk a little bit at first about what this CD is?
Right, so I have literally just left, not on bad terms, my previous band I was in, called Squiggly Bobbins. No, it's not. It's called Squangey Bobbins. It's called SpongeBob SquarePants copyright strike. It's really hard to say, but no, it was one of my best friend's bands. It started off as a solo project, and then after an album, he was like, "Man, you know what? I fancy making like a full, crazy rock band."
Yeah.
And he got some guys together in the studio, not me, to record this album. And then after that, he was like, "Man, I need a drummer. I need someone I'm friends with. I need someone to like fill in the bits." And I was like, "Yeah, I can do that."
Yeah. Jumped on board. And it looks like it's a proper CD. This is a real thing.
Yeah, man. It's the second Squangey Bobbins album. This was our Lewis is the lead singer. Lewis is the, I guess, owner of the entire thing. Lewis Colley. And I guess it's the one that had the first proper, like, single zzz, with an S on the end. And the whole thing, our first music video recorded on this. So it's 2 music videos.
Do you feature in the music videos?
Quite heavily. If you look in... The very first one we filmed was actually at my house, and we just had... For those of you who know me, I am Party Prince Connor Jenkins. I throw the biggest parties. I try my best to anyway, but we had like a massive blowout house party. There's a scene at the end where like one of the guys dives headfirst into the drum kit and smashes everything up.
But it led to a very raw music video.
Oh yeah, it was great. I went bald for the first time during the filming of that video.
Wow! Oh my god!
And I think if you look in the inside leaflet on here, there's actually a picture of me just like with an egg on my head.
So yeah, you're really committed to the role, really, of a rocker.
I guess I was like more of the tour drummer because I wasn't. I didn't record on the second album.
Yeah.
But I did. I was pretty much hired immediately after it was all recorded and to be the drummer for the that.
Yeah.
Part of the life of the band.
So when you would go around and tour around pubs?
Yeah, pretty much.
You do quite a lot of touring?
It's so. I mean, we get gigs, but I wouldn't probably put it towards probably the wrong word to use. We get a fair few. I mean, we recently did a show for Hub One Recordings music launch party because I think. And my very last gig with the band was their opening party. So let's find the new guy's really nice. I know him already, and they've already found a drummer, and he's really lovely. He's a nice guy called Oscars with an S on the end. It's a strange one.
Very in with the industry now. You've got a lot of contacts with inside music, and
yeah, I'd say so. I mean, not as much as some people I know for sure, because a lot of my friends are musicians. I'm from a small town called Margate, and it's all just musician. But I've got some really close friends who are very big in the industry. There's one guy that I know who he's always been obsessed with music. So I think he posted something on Facebook the other day, and he posted about how when he was 15 years old, he went to his first gig with his dad or whatever, and then it just took over his life. And now he is, I believe, some sort of tour manager or some sort of manager for the band's Dream State. Oh. If anybody on the podcast knows those, yeah. But I got to go to a gig where they played. It was quite a small gig in Dover, and they played. And then like a few months later, they were winning like Kerrang awards and like doing world tours and crazy stuff like that. And I was like, damn, that's awesome. And my friend Jay, he's the guy that made all this happen, I think. So, and he's just obsessed with it. Yeah, he would have been a much better person to have a podcast than me.
Well, you're both passionate people about it, and it rubs off, doesn't it? Because when you're surrounded with people like that, you're gonna be the best drummer you can be. So, what made you pick drumming as the instrument?
Well, I fell into it by accident. I went to a youth centre when I was 13 years old to learn to play guitar, but the guy who taught guitar wasn't in on that day. And they were like, "Oh, the drum guy's here," and I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll give it a go." And then I just kind of loved it. I fell in love with it immediately.
What would have happened if the guitar guy had been there that day?
Well, probably the same thing.
Yeah.
Because I think the very next week I went there, I started playing the guitar, and then I started learning both at the same time.
Okay.
So it's a whole mishmash. But I definitely played more drums growing up as a kid. God forbid my parents. It was. It's definitely my favourite instrument to play. It's just so fun. It was mostly self-taught. I had a few lessons growing up as a kid, but after that I just listened. I used to listen to Blink-182 and Green Day, and all day I would just sit in my room with headphones. I was playing along and trying to learn just by listening,
Oh, so you're not even looking at sheets. You would just go
I
by
can't
the
read
sounds.
sheet music, dude. Not at all.
Because I was sort of the same. Because I used to play the piano, and I was the same. I would listen to things and then just play it because I couldn't look at the.
Yeah, I'm the same.
And Blink-182, they've got a new album out, haven't they? So.
9, I think, is their upcoming album. It comes out in September, which I am so excited for. I'm the biggest Blink-182 fan on the planet. I've got every album. I've got a signed painting on the wall.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like proper diving headfirst into the Blink-182.
So I'm a bit like that with Sum 41.
Oh, mate, I saw them a couple of years ago. Last year at Reading.
You've seen them?
Yeah, it was so good. Wow. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, I imagine the energy was quite high there.
Oh, you know it.
Yeah.
They covered Faint by LinkinPark.
Really?
The singer from LinkinPark, Mike, he was doing a solo set right before them.
Yeah.
And he came on and they did Faint, and it was like, it was so crazy.
Wow, Sum 41 doing Faint by LinkinPark. That's something I would have liked to have heard. That's probably on YouTube somewhere.
Definitely. I think it was actually on the BBC YouTube channel.
Well, I'll have to check that out then.
Do it.
I didn't even know that happened. Drumming, when you're actually there, you're performing a gig, what's the feeling? Paint a picture of what it's like sat in your chair, setting up for a gig.
So generally we'll try and arrive 3 or 4 hours before the show starts, and we can meet all the crew, meet all the staff at the venue, get set up. But I'm not a very technical person when it comes to this. So I usually ask for all the help I can get with setting up stuff. So you set everything up, get all the mic tests, everything done, make sure it all sounds good. And if it all runs smoothly, which it never ever does, then generally you might have an hour or so before the show starts. And then the first band will come on, whether that's us or it's another band, the opening bands. But then it gets to the point where it's 5 minutes till you're on, and then that's the moment where it's like, oh damn, it's
adrenaline.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say I don't get nervous because I feel like I'm quite a confident guy. I mean, I'll always go on stage. I'll always do whatever I need to do, but I think it's impossible, no matter how big you are, how small you are, no matter what stage you're on. There's always going to be a little bit that's like, oh man, this is awesome. It's a little.
Whether it's the O2 or a social club in Margate.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you're quite used to ones where there's multiple bands, though, would you say? Where
yes. Yeah. I think that's generally how most gigs would go. So it's they have an opener, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 even, and then they have the headline act. Excuse my voice crack there. Just cut that.
Definitely keeping that.
I'm a man.
Yeah.
Gosh dang it.
Oh, but it's we'll get to local impact in a minute. But have you been to the Penny Theatre when they do their tribute nights?
Wasn't there recently that Green Day versus Blink-182 one?
Yeah, I went to the LinkinPark one.
How was that?
That was good. The energy was very high in there.
Was it busy?
Yeah. It was absolutely packed.
I did really want to go to the Blink and Green Day one with my friend James.
Yeah.
But I ended up throwing a house party on that night, and I was like, oh damn.
Yeah, well, you just want them both to happen.
You couldn't make it to that.
I couldn't.
How could you?
I was on holiday. And
Cancel it.
This is going to be a cheeky plug because next week's podcast episode is that holiday. In terms of when that's coming out.
Amazing.
So I recorded a podcast episode of my travels.
That's awesome.
So if you want to know my excuse for not being there, tune in next week and then you can find out why.
I'll get the next time you do that, I'm going to get the next flight over and just kick the mic over and fly back.
Yeah, and drag me back. So it's obviously quite a passion with you. Music can sometimes, you have a person that gets you in the door. I've actually been watching a lot of recently upcoming artists and figuring out how they broke in, and a lot of it you find a mentor. I don't know if this is true for pretty much every creative facet. You have someone that gets you in. Was there an inspiration or someone that helped you get into gigs, involved with bands?
Oh, you mean actual, not like a famous musician, just like an actual
local? Just someone you know.
Probably have to be the 2 guys that started my or teaching when I was in the youth centre. So there was a guy called Oscar, and there was a guy called Danny. And Oscar would teach me the drums and a little bit of guitar, and Danny would do the guitar stuff with me. And then, so that was a long time ago. That was 12 years ago. This when I was 13.
Wow.
And Danny and Oscar were two really nice guys, very patient with me because I was a punk rock kid, you know. Long hair, guy liner, the rest, you know. It's a tragic story. But yeah, I think the fact that Danny he praised me a lot when I did stuff. Yeah. And he used to give me like nice feedback. And I think growing up as a kid who struggled a lot in school with coping with like a lot of stuff, you know, I think hearing that feedback it really made me want more, you know. It made me feel good. It made me feel amazing. And then learning a song for the first time, you know, I used to sit there and learn like video game theme songs and stuff.
Yeah.
And ACDC was my big one when I was younger. That was the first proper band I really got into.
Who was that, sorry?
ACDC.
Oh, ACDC.
Yeah. That was my first, I think my nan bought me 2 CDs for my birthday. Wow. I think it's because I saw Iron Man. And I was like, that song's really, Back in Black was in that. And I was like, that's really cool. And then the nan bought me 2 CDs. I was like, this is the best band in the world. And then I saw them in 2010 at Download Festival. That was my very first festival my dad took me to. And he hated it. I loved it. It was the best. Oh, man.
Well, you never really forget the first couple of bands that you listen to, do you? I think for me the first one, because LinkinPark was the biggest one, but there was one more band before that, and it was Disturbed.
Oh man!
And I found out about Disturbed. I heard them because someone put Disturbed's Just Stop over Anakin versus Obi-Wan from Star Wars Episode 3, so they didn't get music copy striked. Amazing. And then that's how I found out about rock music. And I feel like you've got the same thing with AC/DC the first time you heard it. So would it have been was it in the Iron Man trailer, the first 2008 Iron Man trailer? Didn't they have an AC/DC song in it?
It probably did, but I didn't actually see any of the trailers. It was literally my nan was babysitting me when I was younger. And she was like, I rented this film back when you could rent movies. And I was like, hey, let's watch it. And then that also sparked my obsession with like superhero movies as well that same night. Yeah. So that was a good film.
and obviously now you get the connection with the music. So you hear that song, you see Iron Man. So do you have that sort of feeling with other songs where you associate them with memories or specific properties, like I do with Disturbed and Star Wars?
There is one. So one of my second all-time favorite band is called Angels on Airwaves.
Okay.
And they've got a very special thing with me. Just like they've always been. There's always that one band that gives you that emotional, amazing response in your body. You know, it just kicks everything off. You know, I've laughed and cried at this band. You know, I've seen them live. That's also how my best friend James. We kind of bonded over this band because he was wearing a hat and I was wearing a shirt, and it was like, dude, and now we're like best friends. But yeah, there was a point where I would stay up all night just listen to their songs on repeat, you know, just getting chills down my arms and stuff. You know, some people have like crazy stuff like that. But I went through what I thought was a really bad breakup at the time. Now I don't really care, I was quite young. But they had their fifth album come out immediately after that, and that was just like the light at the end of the tunnel. You know, that was one of the worst times of my life at the time. I couldn't sleep, you know, and it was a really bad time for my 18-year-old emo self to go through. But then literally this band came out with this new music, and it was just the happiest time of my life after that. You know, it was so good. It made everything so much better. And I think it's good to have that kind of people who love music. You can really tell, because there is that sometimes life-saving ability, you know, it all has. It's a really powerful and just amazing thing to be a part of. Yeah,
well, it's taking your mind away from things, and I have the same thing. Everyone's got their couple of bands that they listen to when they just need to think or go into like an emotional moment. I mean, there's certain paces as well. Like you have different music for different energy. Like I've listened to the band Flatsound. And the guy the singer whispers all of the songs. It's got the deadest pace of any music that I've enjoyed. It's the slowest music I've ever enjoyed. But if I need something really, really calm to listen to, that's the one.
That's good. I like that kind of stuff.
Obviously, rock music's got its place.
Yeah, definitely.
For very high energy, when you want to go out there and take on the whole world. But you know, it's always good that you have those different songs. So would you say that you've got different songs that you listen to for different emotions?
Yeah, definitely. My chill out stuff recently, I've been listening to an artist called Blackmill, and he's some sort of like a chill step kind of DJ. But he's got some really cool stuff. He's got an album called Miracle, and I just put that on repeat sometimes. It's just like, I mean, some of the drops are like really kind of like, like crazy, but it's all like really slow and chill and nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice chill stuff, you know. And if I want like some kind of rock music, I'll go out and listen to like, you know, Blink or The Rex or some of the crazy stuff like that. Or sometimes, you know, in the gym, you know, metal's my, you know, that's like good lifting music. Or like drum and bass, so just like, you know, crazy stuff like that. But generally, I guess it is kind of like my all-time favorite just kind of genre, I guess, is, I always say this to my friends, like maybe 1998 to 2005, just kind of that kind of MTV punk rock kind of. So that was the time where like pop punk and punk rock really kind of, to me.
That is just Blink 182 and
pretty much, yeah. There's so much more.
No, there was.
But yeah, that's the whole kind of era, I guess. I mean, I want to grow up with it, but to me, that's just like my favorite. You know, like it's so nostalgic, so nice. You know, when the Jackass movies were coming out, you know, like they went hand in hand with each other.
Yeah.
It was this whole mishmash of that was a time where I just couldn't. I mean, I still can't wait for songs to come out, but that was a time where it was like, man, Blink-182 releasing an album, Green Day releasing a new album.
Yeah. You have to wait and be there for the album to come out.
Oh, definitely. That was like, I mean, I've still got my massive collection of CDs at home. Because I used to go like once a week and buy 1 or 2 CDs a week from HMV or wherever. But yeah, that was the time, you know, pre-ordering albums. I still do that now. But.
Yeah, it's like Breaking Benjamin. I'm massive on their music, and like they just released all their new music on YouTube now. So I woke up one morning and I'm like, I think the album's meant to be out today, and just all of the songs went up on YouTube immediately. That's awesome. Just spent the whole morning listening to every single one.
You should do.
Yeah, and an interesting band I wanted to bring up. Have you heard of Starset?
No.
Enlighten me. They're a band that is kind of like set in the future. All their music videos are really sci-fi. Okay. They have a very sci-fi feel as well. There's some orchestra, but it is a rock band. Okay. It's a rock band, but it's got sci-fi and orchestral elements in it. And they have their own lore, like sort of cinematic universe within their stories.
Oh, lore is an L-O-R-E.
Yeah. So they basically have, I think, their own book, which has a story of what all their music videos are.
That's really cool.
And they may have had a comic. It all went off their website, and I can't find any physical copies of the comic stuff. But all their music videos are like really detailed and like go into each other. I guess that's a sort of experimentation thing. Would you say you've got any bands you know that are very experimental?
Yes. I know I keep bringing it up, but going back to Angels and Airwaves, that favourite band. So, 2004 or 5, Blink-182 split up. That was the end. That was like the saddest thing ever, you know. And then Tom DeLonge went off for a couple of years. And I believe late 2005, early 2006, he came up with the Angels and Airwaves band. So the same singer from old Blink-182.
Oh, wow.
And he made this whole band, but he said it's not just a band, it's an art project. It's this whole big thing. He wants to make movies, he wants to make books, he wants to make graphic novels, posters, everything else. And that's exactly what he did. He's a crazy person at this point, but it was so ambitious, but it worked, you know. And for the fans that like it, there's so much. There's a live action movie, there's an animated movie,
really?
There's 2 books. Yeah, it's a whole expanded universe, if you will, of this band and what he's made and what he's done. There's even like a kid's Christmas book called The Lonely Astronaut, which is really cool. He's just made this little stuff.
And that all spawned off the music?
I don't know, because he went into it with the idea of it being this grand scheme. You know, he wanted to have this big, explosive, crazy thing he wanted to do. It was a big. Now he's got this. See, I was such an. I mean, I still am an Adamant fan, but it's just getting a bit over the top now. He's always been a big fan of aliens. He loves aliens. He's obsessed with finding aliens. So, what do you do when you're a famous rock star with all the money in the world? You go find aliens. So he's recently started a company called To the Stars. Well, not recently. It was probably on the 4th album. And that's what all of the music, books, TV, everything kind of spawns from. It's like an official company now. 2 years ago, I want to say, he was like, "Gonna build a spaceship. We're gonna find aliens." And he's been doing that stuff.
Elon Musk.
I know, right? Well, according to him, he's had like interviews, and he's been like to the Pentagon, and he's like had all the interviews with high-ranking generals and stuff, and he talks about it on podcasts. But the thing I hate is this is a guy that's like devoted his entire life. He's written loads of songs about aliens, and even in Blink-182, there's songs like "Aliens Exist," that sort of thing. And he's just a believer, Sasquatch, the rest. He's just always proper into it. But I love the fact he's so passionate about it. Yeah, it's great. I'm on the fence about believing everything. I have no idea whether it's there or not. But he genuinely believes that he's found all this information. It's going to come out in the next. I think he said in the next 5 years. Yeah, we will have definitive proof that aliens are going to exist. So this is just dragging a little bit now. This is a bit slightly off topic. He did something really crazy as well that really caught me. It was he said the reason why the concept of aliens is such a crazy idea is because like the government have made us think that. It's like TV and movies and stuff. You're always like, oh, no one believes in aliens, and then we're like, yeah, aliens are dumb. But it's like, are they though? So I don't know. Anyway, off topic. What were we talking about?
We were talking about music, but now we're in the conspiracy theory.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
Sasquatch is here, guys.
Shane Dawson's outside. No, that'll be the next episode we bring you back for.
I'll be well up for that.
The conspiracy theory. So if you want to see Connor talk about conspiracy theories and aliens that he isn't sure if he believes in, put it in the comments and we'll drag him back in and make him record it. But so yeah.
But yeah, he was talking about he's like made this whole books and TV and movies, and it's all kind of come from his music side of things. And I just think it's really, really cool.
Yeah, well, it's something that's. Well, it's built an entire fan base, and because music gives you an outlet to talk about the things you want to talk about that you don't necessarily feel you can put to words. So, just in conversation or just like public speaking or something, it gives you a different way to say it. I don't know if you know NF. He's like quite an up and coming rapper who talks a lot about mental health within his raps.
That's cool,
and that's his outlet. Because
awesome.
I don't think he does a whole lot of interviews. There's not a whole lot of completely come out.
Some guys hate doing interviews. Like some people really hate interviews.
I know some actors that do. It's like, have you ever seen Joaquin Phoenix do an interview?
No.
Oh, watch it. It's interesting.
Tom Hardy's good. Tom Hardy, like he just takes the piss out of
journalists. Yeah, he rips into people.
He's like, no, you listen to me.
Yeah, but Joaquin Phoenix hates it. He's like an actor, and like I guess it's how it relates back to music. You can have when you're in your muse, you are one person. But in the interview context or the public eye, it just doesn't translate. Yeah. Like, he's one of the best actors I know, Joaquin Phoenix. He's done so many roles. Yeah, and just thinking about another story relating to music moments that sort of change you. I never really had listened to much 60s or 70s. Do you?
On occasion, but not like regularly.
Because I was, obviously I work in radio, and after I finished on my show, I was doing some post-show work, and the show that was on after had 60s and 70s music on. And so for the first time, I was discovering 60s and 70s music, and now it's just a second passion of mine. I absolutely love it. And so from that one shift, I found out about Thin Lizzy, if you know them.
I love Thin Lizzy.
Yeah, they had Whiskey in the Jar.
Yeah. Metallica covered that. It's a good album.
And the first time I'd ever heard Elvis Presley's "Can't Help Falling in Love with You."
That's my old band used to, not this band, the band before that. We used to cover that.
You covered that?
Yeah.
Nice. At gigs?
Yeah, we did. 21 Pilots covered it too.
Really?
Yeah, they did a ukulele version. We used to do, it was a mashup of that and...
what did we mashed it up?
Yeah, cool. It was the same chords exactly as another song that we knew. And we were like, let's do that. I can't remember what we did. I'll have to find out and get back to you.
Yeah, we still have time on the show. I'm sure we'll come back to you. But that music, and I was still quite new to radio at this point, and I was experiencing all of this for the first time, and I'm thinking, okay, this is a job I really like. And that was one of those moments where I realised that radio was a passion. Do you have any associate memories with music that similarly formed? And that's quite a niche example.
I guess memories of home, that sort of thing. There's probably certain moments in my life where I'm thinking, me and an ex split up when Arctic Monkeys were playing Do I Want to Know live. So that's always a song where I'm a bit like, that's got a weird memory attached to it.
Yeah.
General kind of like surf scene and skate music, I'm kind of like associated with home, being on the beach with friends, that sort of thing.
You said Margate was quite a prominent music community.
Yeah, extremely so. Yeah, like everybody and their mums has got their own band. It's crazy. It's a hard place to break through because of how many people are there, but it's a great place to know people and meet people and create bands and lose bands and do this, that, and the other and make music videos and explore. For instance, one of my friends, Adam, he runs, it's called Seaside Sessions. I don't know if you've heard of it. And it's just like, it's essentially like a live lounge type thing where he gets people in and records them and films them and he puts out like a live track and like an interview on a podcast like this. And me and SB were on that once. That was a good time. He interviewed Frank Turner recently, which was cool.
Oh, wow.
And he was on the same show we were, which I like to think. I interviewed Frank Turner once. Did I tell you about that?
No.
Yeah, no, it was for first year radio at uni. And I was going to the gig anyway in Dover, the booking hall, which is my friend Jay's venue I mentioned earlier. So I was going to the gig anyway, and I was doing a piece on music and the internet, how the internet's changing upcoming musicians and the other.
Yeah.
So first things first, I interviewed my singer, Lewis, and then I was going to the gig with Lewis, and I literally said, I was talking to my friend on Xbox, and he said, "Oh, why don't you just like see if you get an interview? Because no harm in trying." I was like, "Yeah, go on then." I emailed his tour manager. It was on the website.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear anything back, and it was the day before. So I was like, okay. And then on the day, I was actually in a graded 9 to 5 thing at uni. I finished all my work, and then as soon as I finished, it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so I was 2 hours early. And I got an email, and it was like, "Oh yeah, you can interview today. Can you be at like 4 o'clock?"
Wow.
Bear in mind, it was like 2:30 or 3, and it was in Dover. So and I was here. I was in Canterbury.
Oh no!
It was. I was like, "Oh damn, yeah, I can." Like I said yes immediately. So I was like,
yeah. Say yes and then worry about it later.
But Lewis was at work. He works at a school. He teaches. So I literally phoned him up immediately. I was like, "Dude, we've got to go earlier. We've got to go earlier." And he was like, "Why?" I was like, "Dude, I'm going to interview Frank Turner later." And he was like, "Damn!" And he like came to pick me up immediately. I got my mic and everything set up, and we drove there immediately, and it was
Amazing.
Great. And then I had a 20-minute interview with him. I also I bumped into Will Varley as well. I don't know if you know him.
No, I don't know him.
I think he's from Deal. He's a local singer-songwriter, but he's exploding quite big. But as I was waiting to go inside and meet Frank, he walked out and he was going to the shop. He was like, "Do you want a Twix or anything?" I was like, "No, I'm alright." I was like, "Damn, that was Will Varley offering me a Twix."
Yeah.
And yeah, but no,
they're just regular people.
Yeah, no, they really are. Like, I was very nervous at first, but as soon as I got my mic set up and he came and sat down and shook his hand, he's really tall, but he's like 6'5" or something. Like, he really threw me off guard. He just came and sat down on the sofa next to me, and we just started chatting. Just like this, it was really nice, and I just kind of got lost in it. He was just a genuinely nice dude, I completely forgot he was like a famous rock star.
Yeah. Wow.
But then immediately after that, I was watching him play like a show to like a few hundred people, so it's like
yeah,
crazy. It's a good time. He's a really nice dude.
And what would you say you learned the most from interviewing him? What was the biggest insight that he gave you?
Ooh, man.
Testing your journalism skills.
He gave me 20 minutes of stuff. He was talking about how there's never going to be greats like the great already. It's like people that are already great, they're great because they're great, the best songwriters ever. But if you want to break through the noise, you've really got to find something that will... It's very obvious already, but you've got to break through the noise, and you've got to get through this and the other. Before
we go to the next section, we want to play one of your songs from your album, Electric Vinyl.
Yeah.
So you're going to choose... What song are we going to listen to right now, Connor?
I think I would like to play a song called Brand New Day.
Brand New Day. So this is Brand New Day by...
Squangey, Bobbins.
He said it. I don't think I can say it once and get it completely right, so I'm just going to leave that to you. And so this is Squangey Bobbins, Electric Vinyl.
Brand New Day.
Waking up on a New Year's morning, I feel the same as the day before, and I feel the same as the next one. I lose my brain and then I'll get some. I open I say, girl, I know you're gonna come my way. I say, girl, I know you're gonna come my way. I say, girl, I know you're gonna come my way. I say, girl, I know you're gonna come my way. I say, girl, I know you're gonna come my way.
So Connor's just let me know that's his favourite song on the album. And now, Connor, you said you just wanted to briefly talk about that song.
Yeah. So it was really nice, actually. So a good friend of ours, Kieran, who's just started his new band, Wren, it's W-R-E-N, and he's a fantastically talented singer. You know, he writes, he produces, he performs. Super nice dude as well. Good to go for a pint with. He actually wrote this song for an old band, I think, and then he and Lewis got together and they were like, let's just make it a Squangey, and they did that, and then he actually did the guest vocals, as you just heard.
Yeah.
So on the pre-choruses, he was always singing his song. You know, we have to let him have his own little bits, but as you can hear, he's a very talented singer and musician overall. So he's very good, just everything. I feel like I've got a crush on him. Jeez. Love you, Kieran.
Well, yeah, if he's listening, then yeah, favourite song on the album. Favourite song. Yeah, and I think what's so nice about the music industry nowadays is that there's so much room for up and coming artists. Like you can be sat in like a bedroom with a laptop and produce a hit, and no one will ever know that that's where it was recorded. Do you know? I assume you know who Billie Eilish is.
Yeah, she's come out of nowhere, isn't she?
She's come out of nowhere.
Very young, 17.
The reason why I looked into her story quite a lot is, I don't know, this bit isn't as known, is her brother, who's 21, produces all her songs.
Okay, interesting.
And co-writes with her. And
right.
they recorded all of their songs in their bedroom. So in
cool.
the brother's bedroom. So the brother's name's FINNEAS. And in his bedroom, he has 3 keyboards. So he's sat in a desk, 2 keyboards to the side of him, 1 in front of him, his desk. And then Billie would sit on the edge of his bed and just sing the vocals. And for the whole of their first album was recorded with her just sat on the edge of a bed. And it exploded out of nowhere, as you said. And so I just love the fact that they're 2 people that none of their first album came from anywhere other than the family home.
Just wanted to do it.
Yeah. And she wouldn't be... I mean, she's an extremely talented artist, but I feel like she wouldn't be anywhere near where she is without her brother. So I think that also is a testament to the importance of like a producing person, having someone there to connect dots.
No band is as good as what they are without their crew. If they have a crew, then that's just game over. You know, that's like the most important people aren't just the people at the front. You know, everybody has a big part to play, whether it's, you know, even just doing like the visual stuff or sound design or just even live setups and stuff. You know, those people work ridiculously hard, and the shows and the music would not be what it is without them.
And they're always like behind the scenes, like
exactly.
You didn't even know that she had a brother.
Exactly.
Yeah, without him, I don't think her music would be at the same popularity. And they've got a brother-sister bond, which is what struck me as very interesting, because I don't know too many artists that are brothers and sisters and so young. But I guess you get the same thing with a band where you get that sense of not just friendship; it's beyond friendship at that point, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Kings of Leon are so big. I found out, I saw them at Reading last year as well. They were awesome. I've always been a big Kings of Leon fan. But they're all brothers, and one of them's a cousin. So I think it's 3 brothers and a cousin, and they're all family. It's really crazy to me.
Yeah.
They all look very different to each other as well, which is very odd.
Which is why probably people don't know it as much.
Yeah, definitely. But I saw a really funny interview with them recently. Is it Graham Norton? Maybe, yeah. I'm not sure. Maybe one of those. I might be incorrect. Apparently, their mum has to like go through and like check off songs she doesn't like before they produce stuff, because otherwise she just gets like really, I don't know.
That's great.
Funny. That made me laugh. Like, I mean, she's not even like with like the producer or the crew or anything. She's just like, don't like that one. Like, I can't do it.
It's a voice to have.
It's just what a mum would have. Yeah.
Well, it's another perspective, because I have away from music, I have a similar thing with my sister. So I've written another theatre piece for a submission, and my sister's a complete linguist, And so in a way that I deal with plot and dialogue and things, she's very much based in language and deconstructing it.
That's
and
cool.
I gave her my script, and she basically tore the first 2 pages apart yesterday. It took her half an hour to analyse just 2 pages, and she absolutely ripped it to shreds. But in a way, I feel like that's quite nice with the family thing with music, because you get another opinion. Because if I just released that script in its current form with just my notes, it wouldn't have been as good. And she just made it better. And I feel like that's another thing that Billie and FINNEAS have. It's interesting because obviously you say with Kings of Leon, they're all on stage together, but what makes Billie's situation so unique, they're not. They are actually 2 separate artists. Like FINNEAS does his own music as well.
Oh, does he? That's cool.
And I actually found out about FINNEAS before Billie.
Oh, right.
I'm probably one of the only people in the world that did.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that the dots were connected.
I love when that happens though.
Yeah.
When you like meet a small boy, you see a small artist and they're like, this is pretty cool. And then all of a sudden they explode like if they deserve it, you know.
Yeah.
Like I was saying earlier with that Dream State band, you know, they were, I think it was 400 people at the show I saw him at. And then like months later they were traveling the world, you know. It's crazy.
Well, so if you could pick one band now that you know that has less than an audience of 10,000 people that is going to go viral, what's that band?
Go viral. Oh boy.
That's the toughest question I never thought I'd ask.
Yeah, it's a tough question to answer. Oh my goodness. That will definitely. Oh man, let's have a look. So there's a band from LA that I've recently discovered, but I think if you asked me the question like a month ago, it would have been relevant. But I think they've like just exploded. Yeah. So I'm not sure. They're called the Wrecks, as in like shipwreck. And they've just kind of come out of nowhere, and I think they only have like 7 songs, but they're really cool. Let me try to think of a small band. Oh gosh.
Yeah, if we get like a really niche. But to be fair, if they explode, then you heard it here first.
Yeah, there we go. I think. Ooh, man, can I get back to you on that?
Yeah.
I think that's quite a.
I'm thinking because I like to listen to really obscure bands where they have tiny audiences.
Maybe it'll be my new band that's coming up.
Maybe that tease that we'll bring that at the end of the episode, so you can elaborate on that right at the end. So you have to stay tuned to listen to what Connor's talking about there. But 2 bands that I'd like to recommend is Kerri, who is one of those sort of lo-fi chill.
I'll write it down now. Just to get my phone out.
Kerri. Kerri, and again in the description of this video I'm going to link every single artist that we've mentioned, both you and I, so that if you, the listener, want content to listen to for the rest of days, you've got a lot of music down there. And one that these guys I think split up, but Landsdowne, they released one song out of nowhere. Like they didn't release any music for like 6 years. Landsdowne. So LANDS down, but with an E on the end.
Oh, okay, cool.
And the vocals for that remind me of Shinedown, if you know Shinedown.
Okay, yeah. Shinedown.
And but with such a high pace and energy. And when I found them, they only had like 1,000 subscribers on YouTube because an Australian Halo 4 montager put their music to.
That's why I found Breaking Benjamin when I was a kid. I was watching Zelda montages.
Or Halo 3. I feel I find a lot of music through video game montages.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I feel all my rock music has been through Halo montages.
Okay, I've got an artist. So, there's a dude I follow called Puppet. And it's like, it all sounds like it's from an anime. It's crazy. It's kind of like weird. It's like synthy, dancey, but it's very happy. Like it's got like a kind of pop punk element to it. Okay. He's very happy, very cool. And I've seen a live video he's done. And he's just ridiculous. He's a really cool guy. And I'd say definitely check him out. It's heavily electronic, but it's got guitars and it's got the rest. And he's got a great voice. He's somewhat screamo, I guess is a good way to put it. Yeah. But it's very happy, very upbeat. It's very hopeful is a good way to put it. Like if you're watching like a cool animated film and the intro drops in, it's got the intro credits. Imagine it's music that will go along very well to that. Yeah. It's really cool. But I think it's all heavily. I think he's very heavily anime and Japan inspired. Because a lot of his album artwork is like anime kind of stuff. I think he's got like a very, very low listen count. I think he just likes me. I think he makes a lot of music. I think he recently got signed to what's it called, Ultra Cat, something like that, which are quite a big label. But I think him personally hasn't got that.
A small artist within a big label.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's hopefully the guy to go viral.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully, and if this podcast can push him in that direction,
that'd be nice. Yeah. Thanks to this podcast.
We've got to get the podcast viral first, though. So
we can do it.
That'll be the first.
Well, now what we do is we tell him to talk about us.
Yeah, and if it'll go both ways, and both of our audiences will just through the roof.
Exactly. There's another local band as well, and I'm really struggling to get the name of it. He's my friend Declan, who actually supported us on the last gig, and another gig before that. I just can't remember the name of his band. He's gonna hate me for this. But they're really cool. They're very Arctic Monkeys. They sound like he's got like little quips in it as well in the songs. Or the song will stop and he'll kind of say a little line and he'll be like, kick the drums back in, and it kind of kicks off again. It's like really cool. He's really British, very awesome, very Arctic Monkeys-esque.
And that's quite.
If I can't remember during this podcast, can we link it?
Yeah, it'll
really
be in the.
It's really good.
Declan's band in the description.
Yes, that's the one. Declan Fields.
But
look out for that name.
So obviously that's quite also an experimental thing. Like if he's putting just lines, words.
Like little quips and stuff.
So have you got examples? I've got one or two of like interesting things someone's put in a song that isn't really music, so it's not an instrument. Just really creative examples as where someone's thrown in a sound that isn't traditional in music.
Back to Blink. They have on their self-titled album, which was the 5th album. There is a interlude midway through, and it's a love letter that one of the singers' grandmas wrote during World War II, I believe, to the grandpa, I guess, or whoever they loved at the time. And it's literally like a red spoken. It's got some really sad piano in the background, and it's just like this love letter written, and it's like a minute and a half long, which is really dramatic, really lovely. And then this next really heavy song kicks in straight after that. It kind of takes away the whole mood, but it's really fantastic, and it's just a little. I think it's the piano in the background that really makes it. It's like literally all it is sad piano. It's lovely.
Sometimes it's the simplest bit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like in terms of like piano and orchestral. I listen to when I write a lot of film soundtracks. Is there any space where you listen to quite soundtrack type music?
In the gym, sometimes I'll have either the Halo soundtrack or the Avengers soundtrack going because they've got some cool motivational songs, dude.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the Zelda soundtrack. Every single game, I'm a huge Zelda fan. Zelda's my favorite game of all time. Anything by John Williams, so that's Jurassic Park, Star Wars.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a good soundtrack guy.
I'm a Halo 3 ODST kind of guy. The saxophone in that is just that makes the whole soundtrack.
I'm literally playing through the Master Chief Collection now.
Really?
From the beginning.
Well, you're the only one. There's no one else on there.
I'm working through it.
You see, I played Halo for like 5 years straight, and I haven't played it in so long. But just that saxophone kicking in on ODST, it's just I'm back straight away.
I know, right?
Yeah, it brings
back a cool, sad soundtrack, isn't it? It's got the weird kind of like woo, kind of noises in the menu and stuff.
And because it's designed to feel quite isolating.
Yeah.
So when I want to write something really like deep, I will listen to either that or the soundtrack from the movie Her.
I've not seen that. No.
Yeah, that's came out in 2013. I love that soundtrack. Or The Fountain, which is they're my favourite soundtracks of all time. But so The Gym and Avengers.
Oh mate, honestly, there's nothing better, right? They're getting a pump on, and then all of a sudden it goes dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun.
Have you got like Thor's Arrival in Infinity War just on loop?
Dude, like that. I've watched Endgame probably 10 times now. I can't not get choked up and tingles down my arm. Like not even a sad bit. It's just like the bit where he's like
spoilers.
We are talking heavy spoilers.
It's been out long enough.
The bit where he says Avengers Assemble, the main bit. That was like, I get like a tear in my eye every time because it's just so cool. I just can't get over how amazingly cool it is.
Yeah.
It's literally like, how many years since that first Iron Man? 2008?
2008. 11 years.
That's crazy. It's 11 years of build up to that one moment of like, oh my god.
You see, for the two moments for me, it was obviously wielding Mjolnir. Because I'm not a comic book guy, that came out of pretty much nowhere for me, and I forgot about the scene in Age of Ultron where he nearly budged it.
Yeah.
And then I was just sat in the audience, my arms were out here. I was like, "What am I watching?"
And everybody cheered in the cinema when I saw it. It was great.
Yeah, because I had to go back and rewatch Endgame because I couldn't hear the music from all the cheering and screaming that was happening.
The music is one of the key parts. It just, I don't know who the composer is, but he nailed it. He nailed it on the head.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. We really should know who the composer is for.
It's probably a big name we've already heard before, but I just don't know.
Yeah.
I know you can see like stuff like Star Wars live in concert and Final Fantasy in concert, that sort of thing, with like the composers do like orchestrating the whole thing. And it's really cool. I love that kind of stuff. I've not been to one, but I would love to go to one.
It's like, and also the scene right at the end of Endgame where Cap gets his dance.
That made me check up as well. That's very
same.
The music was really cool.
It makes you really reflective on his whole journey and that song. And I can still hear that song because it played a large part in my life. And I don't know, I feel like sort of post-World War II music, a lot of it's quite romantic.
Yeah.
I went to the Air Museum when I was on holiday, which you can hear a bit of next week.
All right.
I will plug the episode anywhere I can. And they basically had 50s music booming out around the whole place for the whole time. So I was just walking around like a giant aeroplanes to the sound of 50s music.
I thought you were saying you were walking around like a giant aeroplane, just going.
Yeah, I was just running around the Air Museum making plane noises.
I like that.
So in a moment we're going to move on to some of your comments, but I'd like to play one more song. So off of your album, what's the second song that you would like to play? Second favourite song on the album? No pressure.
So I feel like, you know what, let's do it. Let's go straight for the single, the music video, A Girl You Just Met.
Let's get a bus into the town and see all of our mates. Let's get a bus into the town and see all of our mates. There's Jaeger bombs 2, 4 or 5 at the Kickstarters tonight. That's Jaeger bombs 2, 4 or 5 at the Kickstarters tonight. It doesn't matter what you do when you find yourself in an old back room with a girl that you just met. Oh, don't do something you might regret. It doesn't matter what you do when you find yourself in an old back room with a girl that you just met. Oh, don't do something you might regret. We'll bump the train into the city to find them girls that are all so pretty. Just make sure it's not like last time when you were passed out by 9:30. And we'll bump the train into the city to find them girls that are all so pretty. Just make sure it's not like last time you were passed out 9:30. It doesn't matter what you do when you find yourself in an old back room with a girl that you just met. Oh, don't do something you might regret. It doesn't matter what you do when you find yourself in an old back room with a girl that you just met. Oh, don't do something you might regret. It doesn't matter what you do when you find yourself in an old back room with a girl that you just met. Oh, don't do something you might regret. And it doesn't matter what you do when you find yourself in an old back room with a girl that you just met. Oh, don't do something you might regret. You might regret. Oh, you might regret. You might regret.
And so Connor just said that song's been on the radio. All the radio stations play that song. Did you want to, before we get into comments, just talk about that song briefly?
Yeah, it's a good time. It's literally just that's a song that reminds me of home. It's just a night out, you know. It's a night out, crazy party type thing. That's the one we recorded the house party music video to.
Now we're going to move into your comments. So we got a handful of really, really eloquent comments. You're going to hear paper rattling in the background now as we get them up. We've got, can I count? Yeah, 6 comments. And I'm going to read them all out. and then we will put them to Connor and have Connor react to all of your comments. So first to Facebook, we have William Francis. He commented with a beautiful amount of words. A very nice long comment from William. He says, "The power of music. Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds is an album loved by all my family. It was a favourite on car trips, and listening to it as a child always scared me. The lines, 'The chance of anything coming from Mars are 1,000,000,000 to 1, he said, and the Earth belonged to the Martians,' were engraved into my brain. Not remembering it until I practically started uni, as a random thought, the lessons it taught me were much clearer to the point where the album became an obsession. I had worn it proudly as the best narrative album produced, and has taught me there will always be the unknown, that there will always be challenges to overcome. After demanding to buy tickets to see them live, it became the centre of my soundscape project for uni, in which I got a first. I'm forever grateful for its existence, and will continue to sing its plaudits until everyone's lives are forever autumn."
That's like an Oscar speech. Jeez, that's awesome.
Very eloquently worded story
Nailed
there.
it.
Yeah, so do you have any reaction to that, Connor?
I mean, it's lovely that, it's kind of come through his life to now, and it's helped him get through uni and get that crazy mark in uni. It's awesome that a composer can do something that can literally affect somebody's career and uni life,
It's inspired all of his future work.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It really is. It's when you think back to the core of it, it was one guy who had this idea for this song or tune or one little riff here and there, and then now it's changed William's life, even if it's just a little bit, which is awesome. That's what music's about. It's fantastic.
And that's what we love about all really forms of creative art. I think the idea of you've left your mark and someone else has picked that up, and even if he'll never know. The guy who does the War of the Worlds album, Jeff Wayne, he'll never know that this has happened, but it's passed on the mantle. I mean, I just love that idea that something you did has maybe inspired someone somewhere.
Well, that's like, going off topic very slightly. I've always said since the first day I picked up guitar, I want to write a song. I don't care if I'm famous. I don't care if I'm making money. I just care about writing one song that changes someone's life and triggers some sort of emotional reaction. Like, I've had songs before where I'll be listening and I'll get a tear or I'll have like a big smile on my face. As long as I can write one song that affects me, that affects them the way that like one of my favorite bands has affected me, that's like that is literally a bucket list dream come true type thing. If one person comes to me and it says, "I listened to your song and I just had the biggest smile on my face," then I'm going to be the happiest man alive. Honestly, that's like all I want from the whole world.
Well, that's the goal, and hopefully through this we can get the audience to you so that they can listen to all of your new stuff. I mean, not on a musical level, but I had when I was a kid in primary school, we had like a project where over summer we had to make something. They just gave us, you make whatever you want, but you have to make some sort of project. And I made mine a Lego animation. And they showed that Lego animation in front of the entire school. And it led to the creation of a little animation sort of school club.
That's cool.
Completely because of my animation. And that animation got showed year after year at the primary school after I left. Oh. And when I was in secondary school, I was in about year 10, year 11, so I'd have been 15, 16. And this kid comes up to me and goes, "Oh my God, are you Max Barrett?" And I'm like, "Yes." And he's like, "Your animation inspired me to animate." And I'm like, "Yeah, just crazy." And then just hearing that, it absolutely makes your day. And you can get that with music too.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
So and William's definitely got it here with Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. Right, now moving on to Richard Coleman. Now, Richard, I know Richard can talk. So music for me is my form of meditation, no matter what genre I listen to. If life is getting a little tough or work is hectic, I sit down and listen to music. All my worries disappear and it helps me focus. It's also great for recreating emotions and remembering important life events. I could go on, but I'm going to stop now. I know Richard could have written something, a few pages for us there, but do you have any reaction for Richard?
I think it's great that he says, no matter what genre I listen to. I feel like there's a lot of stigma with people thinking they have to listen to one type of music. I hate that. Or if you listen to one type of music, then you have to like a certain song. It's like I like everything. People are like, "Oh, you listen to everything." I do listen to everything. That's a promise. Whether it's classical, soundtrack, death metal, it's the whole lot. But I feel like punk rock and rock music is mainly my forte, but it doesn't mean that I can't like anything else. And I love the fact that Richard says, it's pretty much saying that if work is hectic, a little tough, there's types of music for that, different types of music for different situations. Which just it's everything. You can listen to whatever as long as you like it, then what's the harm in using it and making it productive and helping it through your life? Making it part of your life.
I think it ends up being so much more important than you realise, and I don't think I realised that until I worked in radio, and I don't think working I realise how much the songs that are being played out on air whilst I'm working are affecting me.
Yeah, exactly.
But using it with work.
When I was a kid, I was so like metal, pop, punk, just that's it. I'll listen to anything else. I'm not gonna be one of those mainstream idiots. But now I'm older. I'm like, what?
There is some good mainstream music.
There is. I think the thing that started me getting into it was probably around the time when I think it would have been 2012, 2011, where a lot of my favourite artists at the time, like Paramore and Fall Out Boy and stuff, were collaborating with like rappers and stuff. And then I was like, that's quite cool actually. And I started listening to the rappers and like DDM DJs and stuff. And I was like, this is actually really cool. And then one of my all-time favourite musicians, Travis Barker, I've got his biography a lot at home. He is, I think he got voted actually the number one drummer of all time now.
Wow.
He's won that title, yeah. I might be wrong on that. I'm pretty sure he's got it.
Is he the Blink-182 drummer?
Yeah, he's the drummer for everything you can think of. He's done everything. He covered himself head to toe in tattoos when he was young, purely because he said, I want to be a drummer, I don't want to be anything else. And doing this, I've solidified the fact that I can't get a job in anything else.
Yeah.
How gnarly is that? That's crazy. And then he did it, and he became big and famous, and then he's worked with every rapper under the sun. He's worked with countless artists. He does guest spots on other bands' shows just because he can, because he wants to. Yeah. What happened is with the last album and the changes of style a little bit, a lot of fans, there was an uproar, a bit of backlash. And a lot of fans are saying that the new song generational divide, if you listen to it, it's saying stuff like, we're better now, this and the other thing. They made like a really short 50-second fast
punk really rock. Short.
It was great. It's aggressive, it's angry, but it's like, are we better for you now? And people are saying that, I think that's more the main focus of it. But yeah, I mean, like the fact that he's just gone and done this and he made himself into a drummer. He was like, I'm just going to do it. And he's done it. And now he's worked with every type of music. He's done, I think he produces as well. So he's done like EDM stuff, rap stuff, punk rock stuff, heavy metal stuff. He's done everything. Yeah. And it's amazing. What a career, what a life.
And so much commitment, like to just go down one path. And like what you said about the collaboration with rappers. I was playing pool last night, and just Numbcore comes on, the Jay-Z LinkinPark.
Arguably the best mashup of all time.
Yeah. And so I was just surprised to hear that, because I haven't heard it for like 5 years.
That was proper, like, go back to like MTV, that was back then, was it? What was it called? Collision Course was the 6 songs over, and that was so good.
Yeah, Collision Course, and then you had their Reanimation album, which was like, they cool. just ripped apart their own songs.
Yeah. That was great. LinkinPark were one of the best bands ever. I'm glad they haven't terminated as a band, after the tragedy. Dude, I was actually at a Blink-182 concert when that happened, and that broke everyone around me was just in tears, I saw Mike at Reading.
And this is obviously referring to the Chester Bennington.
Yes, obviously, just to clarify, absolute tragedy. One of my favourite singers of all time, and I genuinely got very upset and I cried a few times about it. It was a big deal to me growing up as a kid. And I saw Mike, who's the rapper for LinkinPark, at Reading last year, and he played Numb just on piano, and the whole crowd was singing, and everyone was looking around, and like I gave a girl a hug, she was just crying next to me, and then they were actually friends. We started chatting after that. I think we were going to meet up at Reading this year.
It connects people. It
does. Music, exactly. Music, I believe, is one of the most important things in the world for that sort of stuff. I don't suppose you saw the tribute concert for Chester, did you? They did a 3-hour-long show in Hollywood. And it was all LinkinPark songs, but they had a different guest on each song come in and sing Chester's parts. Yeah. And it was crazy, they had like Some 41 were on there, Blink were on there. They had as many singers as like, but and that was such a seeing all these crowds here crying and singing along to the songs and dancing. There's so much crazy stuff at that show. I'll send it over to you. It's really cool.
No, definitely, and we'll link it below. But I feel like that his death was one of those things that I remember. I was genuinely really sad. I can remember exactly where I was. Me and my dad were coming back from London, and I was sat on my phone on platform 13 at London St Pancras. And I remember it so vividly because it was the biggest shock.
It was, for me as well. They probably were in the same time I was in London, because I was at the Blink show with the O2. Yeah. And it was the same thing. Like I was on my phone, it came up, and I was like, oh man. and everyone was just going nuts. It was crazy.
And then
a lot of people think One More Light, that last album they released, was like a goodbye note, because especially the song One More Light, where he's like, who cares if one more light goes out in a side of a million stars or whatever. That's like, I can't hear that song. I always skip that song because I know I'm just gonna like get a tear in my eye if I listen to it.
See, I like listening to that song still, just because it is such an emotional song for me. If I'm feeling emotional, that's a go-to.
I agree with that. Yeah, that's Have you seen the video for it? Where it's just him and loads of fans, and they're all like, oh man, I'm gonna cry.
It's nice, those music videos where they go to fans.
I love it.
Yeah, because Alan Walker does it quite a lot.
Oh, nice.
You don't know Alan Walker?
No, I don't. Is that bad?
Yes.
Am I in trouble?
Yes, you're in big trouble. No, I feel like it's impossible to not have heard of Alan Walker at this point.
Let me have a look at my library real quick, see if I've...
He's like, because he eclipsed a couple of, I think Faded is in the 1 billion for views.
How does it go? Also, we can't play it, but...
I'll play a section here. No,
there you go.
I will have to sing. I have to sing the whole thing right now, a cappella. No, okay, I'll link it below. No, Alan Walker, it's all techno. It's
I might know it. I just don't know the name.
And he actually quite often got used to like his original work, like video game content creators used his work as like backing.
Oh, okay.
So it was originally just background music, and then his most popular song, which was called Fade. He got a vocal artist in to do lyrics for it.
It does sound familiar.
And they went to Faded, and then he did the same with Spectre, and I think they call it Spected. But yeah, I actually, when Faded came out, I was in the first 100,000 views of that.
That's awesome.
That's like, now it's at 1 billion, I'm like, wow.
That's awesome, wow. That's really crazy.
He blew up because of that, and so yeah, it's very bad you haven't heard of him. But his latest music video, he got fans to edit the song. So he sent the file round to fans, and so people would record themselves adding bits to the song, and so that was how it would layer up throughout. And I thought that was quite cool. But let's get back to the comments.
Yes, let's do it.
So we've got Amy Gamble. She says it's therapy, be that for an individual or for a community. It helps dementia, helps mental health, helps kids, and helps the generally vulnerable. My degree has shown me that anyone can benefit through listening or movement through music. So helpful. So I think the two words that I'm sort of taking away that we haven't really touched on so far, really, the idea of helping for dementia and mental health, and movement, physical movement. Dementia, I assume, relating to a sort of more of a memory association thing, and movement, dancing. Gotta love.
Of course.
Gotta love dancing.
Can't stop myself.
I know that both of us are very passionate in the area of dancing.
Oh, I'm cutting shapes left, right, and centre. Yeah, now under the table.
Yeah. You can't see right now, but we've actually been dancing for this whole podcast. every single bit of this has been impromptu dancing. We are sweating, and the linking it to memories. I know when I did my French GCSE. I know this is the weirdest tangent of all time. I was really struggling to take him for my speaking bit, where you had to basically speak an entire page's worth in front of your teacher, and I was really struggling to take my own one in, and someone in the class sang his out loud because he was messing around, and he sang the whole of his page in French to the class, but when I got home, I could remember his, but I couldn't remember mine.
That's awesome.
So I decided that when I got home, I was going to sing my French GCSE speaking to myself, and I remembered it, and I got a good grade for it.
That works, doesn't it? That's good,
So I just
That's awesome.
Yeah, but do you have any reaction for Amy's comment?
But like I said, I definitely have memories tied to songs and artists. But I feel like, do you ever sometimes I time things. Like, do you ever walking somewhere and you're like, oh, it'll take like 3 songs to get there?
I used to. I don't, because I cycle everywhere now, not so much. But when I used to walk everywhere, yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I know for a fact from my bedroom to here, I live very close to this building. It's like 1 song away, and Spoons is like 2 songs away. It's like it's very. I don't know how that fell about. I think it was from school, I guess.
That's cool. But well, actually, working in radio and having music on, we do think in how long the songs last.
Which is awesome.
And when a show is really busy, we want really short songs. And when it's going quite quiet, we can play a longer song, like a 6 or 7 minute one. That's when we bring out the Don McLean American Pie. Like that. That's like one of my favourite songs of all time.
Brilliant.
But I love that. So yeah, when you walked here today, what song were you listening to?
I didn't.
You didn't?
It would have been from the new Blink EP that just came out.
Yeah.
For the new album.
That'll be your walk home.
Yeah, pretty much. I lived so close, I was like, oh. Yeah, sometimes I listen to so much music, like literally all day, every day. My housemates probably hate it. I'm music, playing video games. Sometimes even watching TV, I listen to music. It's really weird. I don't know. I just can't stop. But sometimes I'm like, after all that, it's nice to have like a bit of silence. Like it's a nice day today, and I figured, it's around the corner.
Yeah.
What are your favourite bands?
Oh, I've said most of them.
Have you?
Yeah, I've pretty much. I've put all my cards on the table.
Can you choose like one over the other though?
I think Breaking Benjamin might be top.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Nice.
But there are different bands that are up there for different reasons.
That's a good answer. I love that answer.
Yeah, it's why I can choose what my favourite film is of all time, but I can't choose my favourite musician.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, it's like, if as we've sort of said throughout this whole episode so far, there are certain times that I need to listen to certain artists. I've just discovered an artist called Kina, who it's all like really lo-fi, but also like really like the lyrics are very like emotionally driven, and that just suits what I'm going through at the moment. But there'll be other times where I just need like a really aggressive NF song. It depends if I need to go to sleep or not.
I completely get that.
So do you struggle as well to choose a favourite?
Well, I mean, if I had to choose overall, my favourite band is Blink-182. But then I've got such a varied taste, I guess. I mean, my top 10, probably couldn't even list. But it ranges from like even, are you a fan of Don Broco at all?
Not even heard of it.
They're from Bedford. They're really cool. They've kind of exploded in the last probably 10 years. Oh, wow, that's flown by actually. Yeah, I'll say exploded. It's been a good 8, 9, 10 years.
Yeah.
Stuff like 1975, I really got into. I'm not a fan of the newer stuff, but I definitely love the first 2 albums. But yeah, it varies quite a lot. I listen to a lot of alternative, strange kind of synthy music as well.
Oh yeah, 80s synth.
Oh mate, yeah.
So the Thor Ragnarok soundtrack.
It's amazing, dude. I literally watched that yesterday.
That movie got me into 80s synth music.
Did it?
Yeah, I had never listened to it before, and then I saw the trailer. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Then a whole subgenre.
The first thing that got me into synth would have been probably. Do you remember Mass Effect, the game?
Yeah.
The first one. That music in that game blew my mind. And then I think I downloaded in the credits. There's a band I think they're called Faunts, Faunts, and they got some really cool like weird technical-y kind of electric guitar stuff.
There's also like dark synthwave. Like I was listening to someone made like a Stranger Things inspired dark 80s synth collection. Cool. I'm like, okay, I'm all down for that. So I did my writing yesterday was to that. 2 bands I haven't mentioned.
Go on.
This one has definitely split up and don't think they're ever getting back together. It's called Manic Bloom. They never got big. I think they have like 10,000 subs on YouTube, and there's not been a video on their channel for 7 years.
Declan's band is called Art Deco, sorry.
How did that remind you?
I don't know, I have no idea. Sorry, can't carry on. It just popped into my head.
Art Deco is Declan's band, that's in the description now too. Their music was so good that it really, that genuinely frustrated me when they stopped, because they stopped right as I just got into their music, and I was like, oh, now I want the next thing, and then now it's not a thing. And do you know, this is a bit more well known. Do you know Evans Blue?
No.
No, okay.
Another
rock band. Yeah, it's yeah, they are not cheese, but that is confirmed. They are also another band that split up, but I think they basically rebranded. But I haven't listened to as much of the new stuff. But yeah, those are 2. I guess if we're going down the line of obscure bands, that, although I mean, I said Alan Walker and you hadn't heard of that. So.
No. So you said about how it sucks that you found a band and they broke up, so you can't listen to any more of that stuff that come out. I think I'm the opposite in a lot of ways. So for instance, I love it when if I find a new band that I love and then they have like 5 albums, I'm like, that's a lot of new music to like try and get into. But then if it's I've got a band that are like called Crosses, and they came out years ago, but they've only had 1 album. And I love that, because now I know like every single album so well, and I love that album.
Yeah.
But then I feel like now if they release a new album, I'll probably be like, I can't be bothered to listen to it. You know, I feel like if it's too much, apart from my favourite bands, like Blink, that have got like 10 albums and an EP, I know every song off the top of my head. But
well, there are certain bands that you're okay with just having the 1 album, and there are some that you crave more.
Exactly. I mean, Don Broco started like that. I mean, Don Broco, I was one of my favourite bands, and I've seen them live 3 times. I love them to bits, so amazing. But it's, for the first year or so listening to them, I only listened to the second album. And it took me a long time to listen to the rest of it. And now I know all of it, and it's like, this is amazing. Why didn't I get into this sooner, you know?
I think another one of my, in terms of like just a favourite album, because I find it very difficult to like pick favourite albums, but if there's like one that an album where there's not one bad song on it. There's two I want to mention. So Breaking Benjamin's Dark Before Dawn, which was one of their newer ones, which is really slower than their usual stuff. But do you know the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus?
I do.
Yeah,
I'm familiar.
The album that was their namesake, so same title. I can't think of one bad song on the whole album. And that's difficult.
Yeah.
Because usually you have like the songs you always go to, but for this I was like, I could just play the whole thing and I don't even need to skip songs.
I think my first album like that, it was Good Charlotte, The Young and the Hopeless. And that was the first album I listened to like in its entirety, and I was like, this is really effing good. You know, this is like, there's not a single bad song on here. And then probably Blink-182's Enema of the State. It's probably the next perfect album for me.
Yeah.
That must be like, I think it just turned 20 years old the other day, which is crazy. Man, that makes me feel old. I remember that coming out.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
What year would that have come out? Oh, 20 years. That's 1990.
1999, yeah.
Oh, I was one.
Oh yeah, you were younger than me, aren't you?
I was one.
That's
if that.
crazy.
Only just about one as well.
That's crazy. I think it would have been my 13th birthday. So I bought Blink-182's Greatest Hits, one of the third albums I ever bought, fourth album. And I was like, this is the best thing in the world. I saw one music video and I was like, I need to buy this album.
But you weren't 13 in 1999.
No. It would have been...
I was going to say, because the numbers were like... My head was going through like, wait...
I was 5 in 1999.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw one music video. I was like, that's really cool. I like these guys. I bought the Greatest Hits album. I was like, this is even better. I love this. And then I think it was my birthday coming up, and I asked Mum to buy me a Blink-182 album, and she bought me every single Blink-182 album that came out so far, and that sparked I was like, oh my god, this is the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
I can't remember how this conversation started now.
Well, it started with you walking in here. And we were talking about music and then aliens. But now, yeah. Let's go back to... Well, when I brought up Starset and Future Band, it's like... and then, in fact, William said it with War of the Worlds and Martians Coming to Earth. So
right.
This is slowly becoming the Area 51.
This whole podcast is a conspiracy. I want out. The doors are locked, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's a red dot on my forehead.
Yeah. This is the power of radio, everyone. We're now going to be going to Shami Udlamata, and she says that music can take me to places. Wandering down memory lane, great aid to change the energy around to bring calm or hype yourself up. And I think we've talked a lot about that in terms of music for different situations.
Definitely. Have you got like a Friday night going out playlist you put on?
No, I don't really. I don't.
Me and this band compiled one together. You know, Friday night, put Sailor V by Stereophonics on. But yeah, I've got playlists for different things. Like I've got like a sleep playlist, which I like. It's I put it together myself, and it's I don't know why I said that. But it's like, it starts off with some chilled out music, but then it kind of gets progressively more and quieter and chilled out as it goes on, to the point where I just kind of fall asleep with it.
Yeah, that's good.
And it gets to the point where I think the last 4 or 5 tracks are just ambient noises, and like there's some like interludes on certain albums and stuff like that, you know.
Oh, lovely.
Which is really cool.
I think I need a calm one, because all my playlist is in one massive playlist. This is really bad.
Okay.
I don't have...
do that.
Yeah, I need to, because like I'll be like trying to like quiet down for sleep, and then like NF's most aggressive song will come on, and then I'll be like...
This is my last thing about Blink-182 I'm going to talk about, promise. But they've got a song called Family Reunion, where every single word... It's like a 30-second song. Every single word is a swear word, apart from one. It's just and. But I found a censored version online on YouTube, and some guy, it just goes beep, 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 and beep, beep. It's the funniest thing.
Oh, is that like when people do Darude Sandstorm as karaoke?
Stuff like that, yeah. And it's just, oh god.
Yeah, don't listen to Darude Sandstorm. If we get one listener to listen to Darude Sandstorm, I feel like we've done our job.
Should we do it right now?
Yeah, let's play all of Darude Sandstorm. I feel like we could do it a cappella right here. Although actually, I do want to make one point about a cappella before I go to the Instagram comments.
Go on.
Right, Connor's going to perform for all of us now. So have you seen the movie Swiss Army Man?
No.
It stars Daniel Radcliffe. Yeah, he's the Harry Potter guy. Yeah, Daniel.
The Harry Potter guy.
No, I know that sounded really bad to say, but yeah, Daniel Radcliffe. So he wanted to start doing more indie films, and the directors, what they wanted to do was take everything they hated about movies and put it into a movie. Okay. They hate a cappella music, so the whole score is a cappella. And
that's awesome.
I said Harry Potter. Daniel Radcliffe. he plays a dead body for the whole movie. He is dead for the entire movie.
Wow.
I would 100%... It's not a masterpiece.
Is it funny? Or
yes, it's meant to be a comedy.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I would recommend watching Swiss Army Man, because, yeah, the whole soundtrack's a cappella, and they did it because they hate that genre of music.
I love that. That sounds like a great movie.
Yeah.
That's so punk rock.
Yeah, and classic Daniel Radcliffe. Now moving on to Instagram, we've got 2 very short comments, so I'll just read them both off together. Alex says, it reminds me of my favourite memories and that there is always light in bad times. And Antonio says, music to me is inspiration and life. Very short and sweet, but yeah, gets the point across. There's always light in bad times. And I feel like, yeah, do you have songs that you listen to that are super motivational?
My all-time favourite tune is, to this day, I can't listen to it without getting chills down my arm. It's called The Adventure by Angels on Airwaves. And it is, I've got a single vinyl on my wall of it. And it's, even watching the making of video, it's this fantastic, beautifully put together. You know, I think Tom, the guy who wrote it, didn't sleep for a couple of days or something like that. And it was like, he had this whole song written, and he just couldn't fill in this one riff at the beginning. And he just kept trying. It wasn't working. And he put together some pedals and guitar, and he finally got it. And he played it all in one go, just by accident, I guess. And it's the best riff ever written, in my opinion. It is just such a powerful, driven, explosive. When he used to open it with it live when he used to do shows and stuff. And he said he used to like walk on stage, face away from the crowd, and the song would build up. And he'd turn around as it built up, and the lights would come on, and you just see it would be this big like influx of emotion, you know.
Proper performer.
Yeah, and stuff like that, you know, it really drives me. Like I said, there's like gym music and stuff as well that I've got a playlist for, you know, got to get that Avengers theme song in. And yeah, man, it's...
Yeah, Pretend the Waits are 2 Mjolnir hammers.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
It's just, you feel great listening to, like, I mean, Halo as well, like, you know, the Halo main, like,
Oh, I thought you were going to do the orchestral, like...
What, in the gym?
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah, I know what you mean, though. Or, is it the Warthog run from Halo 1?
Yes, that's the one.
That's one of the ones.
In Halo 2, they like, remastered it, had, like, guitars in it and stuff. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, oh, yeah. Halo...
Oh, it's so good.
Halo 1's classic. Halo 2's guitars. Halo 3 is Blink-182 and Sum 41. Then, yeah.
When I was growing up. That was when the Xbox 360 came out, and you could, like install songs on it from CDs.
Yes.
And I would just play it over the top.
I remember that so much. Yeah, because you would, instead of putting a game in, you just put in a CD and just have all the songs. Oh, wow. I completely forgot I did that.
In GTA 4, they used to be, because you could also save them locally to the Xbox, and then you could...
Oh, mental.
There'll be like a radio station, and you put that on, and it would shuffle your music on the Xbox. It was really cool.
Oh, and what, so you could put your Xbox music into the game?
Yeah, so but you know in GTA you choose your radio station?
Yeah.
It would do that, but it would be like an Xbox library one, and it would just play like your songs.
Did you play FIFA growing up?
Not really, no.
No, because
once or twice.
I had a friend, I played career mode with him, and in career mode you don't actually go into games. We went and played just as managers.
Oh, okay.
So what we would do is we would both choose a team, have 2 separate career modes, and then just talk over our headset about how it's going, and try and get our teams as high as possible. We would simulate every single match, so it basically because the cap was at 10 seasons, but it would get you through the seasons quicker, and so you would try and not get sacked. You would try and do your best.
Okay,
but it meant because you weren't going into games, you got to listen to the menu soundtrack all the time.
Yeah, I love menu soundtracks.
The FIFA 12 soundtrack, and this is 7 years ago. FIFA 12. That soundtrack, I have it on my computer. I sometimes listen to it.
Is that the one that's got the Shakira song that This Time for Africa?
No, that was the 2010 World Cup.
I don't know how I know that. That's such a random...
Well, I know why I know that, because like, the 2010 World Cup is just always because that's what got me into football.
So, I think it's because I was at a club recently that came on.
Really?
It was a great song, but I was just like, what a weird song to come.
Did they put Waving Flag on afterwards? You know, Shakira is dating, is married to, I think, Piqué, Barcelona defender. So it's a small world. And I think they might have met because of the World Cup, so in and around when that song was being made. So yeah, that's very interesting. But that is what Connor and I had to say so far about the power of music. Big episode today. But do you have a story to tell us about any of the crazy and wacky things we've discussed today? If so, feel free to leave us a comment here on YouTube, because we're going to be getting Connor back on. And we want to bring some of the comments to him. We'll talk about conspiracy theories. But if you've got a comment, put it below, and we're going to put it to Connor next time he's back with us in the studio. And you can contact the Facebook page at the My Generation Podcast. We'll be featuring all of your comments in the coming episodes. So we really want to keep this conversation going. Now, we've done local impact, really, because we've talked about all of the local bands that we've gone through. I want to go straight to teasing the next topics that we've got coming up. So, Harry Monday, our returning film production student podcast guest in the episode 2, where we talked about collecting and materialism. He is going to be back talking about his passion for swimming. We talked about swimming in Margate. Yeah. Harry has done lifeguard work. He's worked with swimming pools. He lives in Hastings, so he's right on the coast. Swimming is a massive part of his life, and he's going to be talking about that. We're going to be going again back to your comments on Facebook. I've been posting more questions, asking queries of you, and we're going to be getting those out. And we've got Jenna coming in to talk about philosophy. That's coming up. And my good friend Mitch, he's going to be talking about cars. He is my local car expert, and I don't know anything about cars, but I know Mitch can talk. So I'm going to let Mitch own this episode. But we'll be going back to Connor in just a moment to wrap up this week's show. There's just a few topics that I'd like to ask if you guys would be interested in coming on the show to talk about. So, we are still looking for writers. We want to get someone on to talk about a script they've recently finished. Are you a radio writer, theatre, film? Bring your scripts to us. You want to analyse it or talk about the creative process on the show. Not necessarily giving spoilers, but trying to get people to see your incredible work within the area of Kent. We need a guest who's a cyclist. I mentioned I cycle everywhere now, but I want to know about someone who cycles in the countryside. What's the best routes in Kent? So we can bring to the listeners all the places within Kent you can go cycling. And you have to be between the ages of 18 and 30 and live in Kent. Put a comment. Again, if you message me on Facebook at the My Generation Podcast, if you inbox the page, I'll get back to you, as that's the best way for me to book guests for the show. And lastly, a graphic designer. I am awful at graphic design. So, again, linked in the description. This is going to be one of the biggest descriptions. I feel like I say this every time, and then we just get bigger and bigger. This is going to be massive.
Make it into a link dump instead.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to have a War and Peace length novel. It's just the description. But Connor, how would you like to conclude today's topic? What would you like to say to wrap up the episode?
Man, it's just listen to more music, man. It's honestly something I can't picture my life without. It sounds so cliche, but it's just such a big, impactful thing on so many people's lives. You know, music has literally raised millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of money for charity, that sort of thing. You know, it's a fantastic thing to be a part of, whether you're a fan or you're in a band or just talk about music in general. You know, it's a great career choice. If you make it in that sort of scene. It's a wonderful thing that the world has given us, and I am really grateful for being a fan and being able to play, and I guess fans of my stuff as well. You know, I'm really, really grateful for that, and it's nice to know that people are interested and like it. You know, it's like I said, I mean, as long as I can make an impact, then I'm happy. And
yeah, and that's beautiful. You teased also halfway through about your upcoming projects.
Yeah, so this will be coming out in September.
Yes, this comes out. Oh, I want to know if I can picture the exact date this is coming out. This is coming out. Let's get the information for you. September either the 5th or the 12th.
That's cool. Well, so I have just left I say just left. It's July now.
Decent weather at the minute.
I have quit Squangey Bobbins as the drummer. Sad times. I guess this could be like another official. They posted a really great photo of me as the leaver one. It's me behind the drums with the can of red stripe. I love that. But yeah, I'm currently starting on a project that's a lot more me, I guess. It's a lot more pop punk, a bit faster, a bit more Connor Jenkins, with my best friend James and 3 other members which we have recruited. And we are really looking forward to show you. So far the writing is going above and beyond what I've done. It's definitely the best stuff I've ever written. Nice. And I can't wait to share it with you guys.
And in terms of the writing process, we haven't even touched on that whatsoever.
Oh man, yeah.
Could you briefly, if we've still got time and you're not rushed off your feet to leave, let's talk about what it's like writing for a new album, a new piece of media.
So I used to write by myself quite a lot, but I never used to go. I've got so many half-written songs and stuff that I thought was cool. But when you're with people that have the same tastes as you and are in the room with you, it's so much better to write with people. You know, I've written better stuff in the 2 or 3 times we've written together than I ever have. Honestly, it just sounds so much cooler because one of us, Skillsy, Jordan Skills, he's very classically trained. He reads sheet music and the rest of it. He's very good. He knows all the scales. I think his mum's a singing teacher. And he is extremely talented, and he's a very crucial part of the band at the moment because he's helping us. Like, obviously, me and James can write stuff, but he knows all the proper technical ins and outs, you know. And it's just working with people. It makes it so much better. I mean, even with the last album, the Squangey album, which I wasn't a part of, but I know for a fact that Lewis has told me that there are so many times where the producer, he was being, oh, still this, how about you do this, or you sing this a different way, or this guitar's replaced with this bit, and it's just sounded amazing because of that. But I mean, writing's a hard process, but as soon as you find something you want to write about and you're passionate about in a style that you love and like, you know, then it gets so much easier. I mean, like, one song I didn't like at all, and it literally, that I wrote, and the process drilled down to it being, all I had to do was speed up a bit, make it a bit faster, you know, and it sounded like 1,000,000 times better. Yeah, it's just stuff like that, you know, as long as you enjoy it, you do it, it's great.
Nice. And yeah, and you're able to talk about what you want to talk about, so there are certain themes that crop up in your writing quite frequently? Yes,
definitely. I mean, I'm a very nostalgic person. Just the other day, I wrote down, which I love, I started putting together some early 2000s, like lyrics about the early 2000s. And it's talking about Jackass being on TV. Our bassist Ben, who's the youngest one, was still just a baby when the year 2000s were happening. I think my favourite lyric that I've written so far in this might be, people rocked out to year 3000, but 2K is where it's at for me. I love that. That's like, so good. Oh, I'm a huge Busted fan, so we all are. Like, well, one of the things that make this band work so far is we all love the same music.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Green Day, Blink, Sum 41.
Sounds like Busted. You know exactly what you want to make as well.
That's exactly what I'm so excited. I think the plan is, it might be out by the time this goes out. I'm going to write a 4-song EP, and that's just going to, you know, if I get that done, I'll be happy.
And yeah, if it's already out at that point and Connor's been working hard, then it'll be at the top of this massive description.
Yes,
that'll be the first link, and we'll be putting it out. I'll be posting it on the podcast, no matter when it is out, so that you can all see it, whether it's coming out before or after the episode. It will be on the Facebook page. So again, at the My Generation podcast, Connor's new EP, 4 songs, will be there. So, thank you for coming on and talking, Connor.
Thank you very much again for having me. Once again, it's always nice to meet a fan. And welcome to my podcast. Max, you can go now.
Yeah, okay, now we can lift the veil. It turns out Connor's been behind, in the way that FINNEAS is behind Billie's work.
Thank you for having me. I've had a really good time.
Yeah, it's been great. And this will actually be the longest podcast. Easily.
If I come on again, I'll make it even longer.
By about 20 minutes, it'll be the longest. Yeah.
Awesome.
But obviously, we're also featuring music. So to conclude the podcast, Connor, one more song.
Oh, man. I should have saved the fun upbeat one, shouldn't I, really? I think, you know, just to change up a little bit, the last one is going to be a song called Do Whatever We Like. So, Do Whatever We Like to conclude. Thank you all so much for listening. Tune in again next week to find out how my holiday went and the reason why I had to abandon Connor for the day. We've got so many amazing topics coming up as well. I've just teased so many new episodes that we have being recorded throughout the weeks. We're recording this in the burning heat of July, and it's quite warm in this room. I'm hoping it's warm where you are in September. The only downside about being in here is that we are, and it's not because all the dancing we've done to music. It's because there's no air conditioning. But yeah, so what was the name of the song again? Do Whatever We Like. And that is what we're ending on. Thank you all for listening, and we'll tune in next week for the My Generation podcast. Bye.